Okay, so this is a video I've been seriously meaning to do, like, for such a long time. I don't know why it's taken me so long, but I think it's because I'm just a really nervous speaker when it comes to stuff like this, and I hate the sound of my own voice. But I do this because, I asked, and a lot of people wanted me to do it, so here we are, by popular-ish demand, a voiceover video. So I asked around Instagram, and I just asked what people wanted me to talk about in this video, and I had some. I had some really good suggestions, and sorry if I'm not really good at transitioning when I speak, because I'm kind of just reading off of my phone of suggestions that people gave me. But here we go. Okay, so let me just look for the first suggestion. Sorry if it's loud too. If you hear like noises, I have loud neighbors, and I hate them. But it's what you got to live with. So one of the first suggestions I got was to get out of my comfort zone, and I found that to be one of the easiest. So I put that first, and I think that was the first. Yeah, that was the first. I just said it. But I constantly just try to challenge myself to just branch out and not get too comfortable with what I usually try. And I am a creature of habit. I do like to constantly draw the same thing over and over again, but this is because I like to make sure that I know how to do it still, but I unknowingly am stagnating by doing that, and I personally do not like to I don't like to stagnate. It's weird. I would draw the same face over and over again to make sure I do it right, but then I get mad because I'm like, oh great, I'm drawing the same face over and over again. So just challenge yourself. Copy pictures. That's what I do. I reference a lot of pictures. Like when I do my big paintings, when I do my big painting pictures, I like to reference a lot or pay homages to one of my favorite paintings. I do paint studies, a lot of studies, and don't be afraid to try new things. If it looks bad, it looks bad, whatever. You'll eventually pick up on these new habits, and you'll add it to your artwork. Like this drawing was this was a couple months ago, I think in March, and I don't even think I draw like this anymore. Not that I completely draw differently, but I definitely have improved since then. So yeah, just keep practicing. I got another comment asking how I developed my OCs, or original characters, and I always find this really funny because these are not they're not my characters at all. They're characters from a show called Glee. I don't know if you remember it. You probably do, but it was canceled show in 2015, yada yada. But I kind of got really attached to the characters, so I just kind of went my own way with them before, because I've been watching this show since I was like 18 in 2012. That's when I started, and I just something about the characters I really like. So I've been drawing them for like 4 years, and they don't look at all like they used to before. So they kind of are like one of my original characters, because I've been putting time, like I've literally been putting years into redesigning them to make them fit my own, I guess, kind of tastes. Because before, when I first started drawing them, I wanted them to look more like the actors. I wanted them to capture the likeness and the features of the actual actors. But as I got older, I found myself saying, hey, I don't really want them to look like these actors. I want them to feel like my own. My goal actually was to make them unrecognizable to the actors so much that they come off as my own original characters. So I guess I succeeded. So I think I think it's important also to just let yourself draw. If you want to draw fan art of something, just do it. Don't be afraid of what people will think. Don't be afraid to give your own interpretation of these characters, because eventually people will. I think they'll appreciate it. Like for me, I'm still surprised by how many people still think that these characters are mine, or that by how many people actually like my designs for them. So I'm really grateful for that. And I don't even, I don't know if I even ever want to, I don't want to say ever or never, but I haven't really had the desire to make original characters like that, because it just requires so much thinking. So much thinking and planning, because you have backstory, you have design, you have all of that. It's so much easier for me to just draw what I see from TV and little burp, excuse me, and just tweak to my liking. Like with Blaine, his actor, he's a lot lighter, and he has a bit more stronger features. But for me, I kind of ended up drawing him how I saw him, how I felt he looked like, and I felt like he was a very soft-looking person, soft features, and all that. And same goes for Kurt, who I'm currently drawing right now, and Mercedes, who's on the top. You can see her boobs, but yeah, same goes for them. Like and I just like to simplify it too as well, and I think that helps. But yeah, it can be a little hard too, because while people online, it's funny, people online are very accepting. They're like, oh yeah, that's cool, I like your little gleeks or whatever, the characters you draw. Who cares if it's fan art? But when I show people in real life, oh my god, the reaction is just totally opposite. It's not like they say they hate it, but it's usually like, oh, it's that again? Okay. I wish you would draw something different. And I'm like, dude, I spent hours on this drawing. This is something that I'm really proud of, but it won't really mean anything to them if it's, if they know it's fan art, or if they know it's not your characters. It's suddenly like, I don't know, it's suddenly like it doesn't matter anymore, and it's kind of heartbreaking. And some people online could be like that too. But luckily I have yet to find people online who are turned off by the fact that these are not my characters. They just get surprised, like, oh, really? And then they just say, oh, that's pretty cool. And then they move on. And in my opinion, I don't know about you, but I don't know how people can make so many original characters. It's not a negative thing. It's just I don't know how many people can make so many original characters and keep up with that. It's really admirable, but also intimidating. But in my personal opinion, I do feel like I like to see people draw the same characters, but interpretate. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Interpret these characters in so many different ways. Like, that's what I do. I take these same 4 to 6, I guess 6 characters, and I just shuffle them around. I like to play with them and just interpret them in different ways. Like, for this drawing, this is a 70s alternate universe, and I just think it's really fun to do that, rather than having to rethink, redesign, or constantly make new designs for my billions of OCs. Like, I don't have I think it's just my attention span. I don't have the attention span for it. But yeah, that's my spiel on original characters and stuff. I might make another video on it, because this is something I really like to talk about. But yeah. Let's see, what's the next question? Advice for beginners. This deserves to be its own video, in my opinion, but my advice for beginners would be to literally just keep drawing. Don't be so hard on yourself. Do not constantly compare yourself to people who have been drawing for years and years and years. This is something I used to do when I was younger, probably in high school, or middle schoolish, high school, around there. I would just constantly compare myself to artists who I thought were far better than me, and they were far better than me, but that was because they've had 20 years of drawing experience, and at the time I had 13. These people are also professionals that I would compare myself to. They would, they also did more studies, and they had discipline. And me, I only not recently now, but at the time it was recent that I decided that I wanted to pursue an art career, a career in art. And, I just started to say, hey, why don't I start learning how to draw hands, how to draw bodies, how to blah, 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 how to do everything. So, yeah, and I would just constantly compare myself to these artists, and it was really not good. It just, how do you say this? It made me beat myself up too much, and to a point where I didn't want to draw sometimes, and I was like, what's the point, I can't make this person look like the way they draw. What's the point of even drawing at all? That's a really bad mentality to have. It's really harmful because, for obvious reasons. I mean, if you say you're not good enough, you're not going to produce anything. There's no fun in that. And also, yeah, have fun when you make art. Like, even the learning process can be fun too. Let me tell you, when you draw and you have the mindset of, oh God, well, when you're practicing, you have the mindset of, oh God, like, I don't know how to draw this, and I have to learn how to draw this. It's not gonna be fun. You might as well just quit while you're ahead and watch TV or something instead of practicing, because you're not gonna enjoy it at all. The mindset, the mindset you should have. Sorry, that doodle. The mindset you should have, and I say should. There's no option. Should. You should have the mindset of, I am learning something new. I'm going to embrace it. I'm going to make mistakes, but that's the part of learning. And trust me, when you practice that mindset, it becomes like second nature. Practicing becomes way less of a chore, and it becomes almost kind of fun. That's what I try to do when I practice. That's why I do a lot of, if you ever see my Instagram, I do a lot of gestures, a lot, or body studies and stuff, because I find that fun. You're usually working on timed poses, so they give you, like, they say, alright, you gotta draw this entire pose in 2 minutes or in 1 minute, and at first it's impossible. But I like it because it requires you to stop being so hard on yourself and just draw. And that's the point of it. That's the point of learning. You're just supposed to create and learn from your mistakes and not think so hard on it. But yeah, that's a little tidbit of advice for beginners. Like I said, this could be a video on its own, because there's so much I can say for beginners. I'm very easygoing when it comes to beginners, because it's like, I think it's amazing that people even want to start to draw. Because I remember when I've been drawing for as long as I can remember. I can't remember when I didn't draw. That's how long I've been drawing. So, but I remember when I was a kid, I just had so much fun making pieces, and I didn't care about how it looked, because no one ever told me, no one ever said, this is bad, you shouldn't do this, or you shouldn't be working on that, you should do something, worth your time. And because I had so much support and positivity, it helped me keep going and going. And I want to give that same mentality, that same positivity to younger artists, or even beginners. I don't care if you're 40 and you're a beginner. You're gonna get, if you need advice, I'll give it to you. I'll give you your positive reinforcement, because it's important. It is so important to give positive reinforcements to beginner artists, especially. Even if you've been drawing for years, don't be so hard on yourself. Just create. Just to have the ability to create. Honing your abilities, this is something I don't talk too much about, but like just the whole creating things, because I get really passionate about it. But yeah, that's how I feel. Also, there's I don't know if you ever seen that video, but there was like this old, it wasn't that old, it was like around August, I guess, 2016, late summer, And someone, I'm not gonna say names, but someone made a video saying art blocks aren't real, all that bullshit, and all that. Or that, you know, if you don't draw every day, you know, that you shouldn't blame it on your art block, you should blame it on yourself, or some shit like that. And it just made me really mad, because you have so many people who watch these videos, and usually younger audiences who are just beginning to start, you know, get into art, and they hear something like, well, art block isn't real, which is false, because it is real. It's a very, very real feeling that I get all the time. I actually one time it was so bad that I think it lasted like a couple of months. Yeah, it was really bad. I still made art, but it was hard. It was very hard to make art. But that's, you know, that's what comes with being an artist. You're gonna have days where you get art blocks, and they are real. It's not you being lazy, because that's the kind of idea that was being fed in the video, and I didn't like it, because it's like, you're not being lazy. Just because you don't feel like drawing, it doesn't mean you're lazy. It happens. Artists, we're not machines. We're people. We're not gonna always want to draw. And it just made me upset, because, you know, they would say, well, if you're not drawing every day, if you're not fighting this whatever feeling, you might not want to draw or you might not want to get into art as much as you thought you did, which is so not true as well. Like, my thing is, like, we're being too hard on ourselves. That's another I hate that mentality. I hate that it's normalized in the art community to be so hard on yourself. Why is it okay to tell yourself, you know, you don't want to do this as much as you thought you did if you're not drawing every single day of your life? Like, that's baloney. Like, geez, take it easy, man. Like, there's, like I said before, there's gonna be days you're not gonna want to draw. That's okay. If you don't, take a little break. Some people take a week off from drawing, and they're fine. They get right back into it. They draw for like years and years and years. Maybe they never get art block again. But sometimes you need to tell yourself, hey, you know, you're doing fine, but perhaps a break is needed. Maybe we need to take it easy on ourselves. And that's, you know, it's important. Because, you know, your art is always going to be there. Taking a break is not going to ruin, you know, it's not going to ruin your eye for color or your line art or anything. You're not going to forget. It's fine. You're just giving yourself a little TLC, that's all. And it's like, you know, I just hate that. And I know some people would say, oh, well, what if they're just talking to professionals, you know, people who actually make art as a living? Well, guess what? The same goes for them too. Just because you make art for a living doesn't mean you should subject yourself to fucking art like every single day and every waking moment. Like, we get it, it's your job, but how are you going to be productive in your own work if you don't even take a break every now and then? Yes, you can afford some kind of break time, unless you've procrastinated to a point where you literally have to finish it in like 3 hours or something. Like, I have an art job. I do the colors for a comic called Rock and Riot. Amazing comic, by the way, you should check it out. But it can be intense, because I have to plan the colors and I have to do the full coloring. And planning colors, oh my god, that is stressful on its own, because I can be hard on myself, but sometimes when I look at the colors I'm making, I'm like, okay, this is not working out, what's wrong, I'm usually good at colors, blah blah blah, and I just spiral into all these negative ideas, when really the thing I need to do the most is take a break. I take an hour break or two, I get back to it, and I'm like, wow, these colors aren't too bad, or I know exactly what combination I need to make it stand out, and it's fine and dandy. And art is fun again. So yeah, that's something that's been bugging me for a while. Sorry. But so there's my opinion on art blocks and just, you know, advice for beginners and stuff. Okay, so I've gotten two questions or maybe three or comments about that wanted me to talk about colors or like sorry, my neighbors or how I pick color schemes and stuff like that. Basically, as you can see now, like I'm kind of working on. That's basically my process. I have my whole myriad, I guess, myriad of pictures that I just where I like the color so much that I kind of just put them together and kind of eyeball it and just think, okay, I like these colors from all these pictures, but I have to limit to an overall specific, I guess, color scheme. And with this, I kind of did that. I kind of just combined the main colors I wanted. And I think it's as common in a lot of 70s because the theme was 1970s, Saturday Night Fever-ish. And from what I've seen in a lot of 1970s posters and stuff is that they have a lot of warm color schemes. I guess because, you know, they made a lot of raunchy shit back then. So, you know, colors like red, yellow, those colors really, you know, they give off that raunchy vibe, that like sexual adult shit. And I love it. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to use those because I think that's what sticks out the most. But sometimes I kind of, you know, I go with my gut. I go with what I like. And with plain, I think that's what I did. Kurt and Mercedes, which is the one in orange and the one in the brown, they fit that color scheme a little more. Blaine, on the other hand, who's in the purple, he kind of went, I kind of went on my own with that. But what I do when I do that, because Blaine was originally, he was gonna have, I think, a brown. I don't know. All I know was that he was gonna fit the color scheme a little more. But I still think I blended him well, decently enough that he doesn't stick out so much. So I liked how the purple and the green looked with Blaine. So what I did was, in order for him not to stand out so much, I used purple, or you know, the purple closest to Blaine's shirt or something, or just purple, to use as shading so that it all comes together pretty nicely. And I think I did a pretty decent job at it. But yeah, that's kind of how I go about colors. I try not to think too much, try not to overdo it, because then you have too many expectations. You're like, you know, you don't want to get too specific when you're planning your colors, because you're gonna set too high expectations. I'm not saying that, you know, to not try or not expect yourself to do a good job. It's just, you know, just put what you think looks nice together and that's it, and work with what you got. And sorry, I think there's a kid crying outside, but just toy around with the colors while you're doing it too. That's what I did. And you'll find that you'll add things that you didn't even think of adding it, because sometimes you can't really see the final image until you actually start working on it. So yeah, that's what I did, and I think it worked out pretty well. I really like how it came out. Okay, next, understanding what a critique is. This is quite relevant, I think. I don't know if you guys follow the YouTube art community. Not the YouTube art community. I love the YouTube art community. You know what? I hate the YouTube critique community. I wish you could see my air quotes, because I fucking hate that community. You have these elitists, basically, who think that they have the right to pick and tear apart people's art just because they don't like it. Like, that's stupid, in my opinion. I mean, yeah, there's certain things that deserve to be analyze, in my opinion, like TV shows, shit where, like, I have no problem with people making critiques on movies or cartoons that are out for the public in a way that the creators get paid. They get paid a good amount. They're all fine. They're not. You critiquing their work isn't gonna hurt them. They're making money off this shit, a lot of money. But I have a problem when you have amateurs, especially you have amateurs critiquing like shit from DeviantArt. Like it's a fucking Sonic drawing. He's like neon or whatever. It's Sonic OC, super neon and all that shit. And they just tear it the fuck apart. They tear it apart and they're like, oh, this is bad. This is ugly. God, my eyes are hurting. And it's like, okay, but what's the critique? And you know what they do after? Then they say shit like, I think you could have improved it by doing this and that. And it's like, first of all, I've seen your work. You ever seen the work of these critiques? I see their work, they don't even follow their own advice. I hate that shit. Like, don't tear people's work apart and then pretend that it's for the sake of critiquing. You just want to be an asshole, or you think that you know better, like you know better than this person. And these are like 10-year-olds posting online, post the artwork online. Then you have these grown ass adults, or sometimes kids, other kids. They just tear it apart, or they just make fun of it. And it's like, dude, they didn't even ask. Another thing about critiquing is that it's asked. People ask. Like, if it's individuals who are posting art, they're not really making that much profit off of it. Get their fucking permission to critique their work. Don't just take it out of DeviantArt. And on top of that, leave their username so they can get hunted down. That's malarkey. Yeah, like, if you want to give a good critique, just ask. Ask them, hey, would you like a critique on this? Or just ask, would anyone like me to critique their work? So I can, tell you what you can improve on, or what you can fix. That's how you critique work. And when you critique, I don't care if it's pussyfooting around, but when you critique, you do have to say what you like about it, and what you don't like, and what they could improve. That is the basic structure of a critique. You don't just say, this is butt fucking ugly, but you could fix it by doing this. Like, don't do that. Someone asked about how I go about drawing different body types, I guess. And, well, what's funny? I think this is why I've been drawing Glee art, or Glee characters for such a long time, is because before the show, I only really drew skinny white people, usually. Yeah, skinny white people. And it wasn't until I started watching Glee where I saw such a diverse cast. And I'm in no way giving Glee any credit for being progressive, because we all know that show ain't progressive. What I liked about the show was that it had such a, like I said before, it has a big diverse cast, and it had plus size characters. Well, Mercedes technically is the only one that was plus size, but I remember kind of like, well, at first when I first saw it, I was like, okay, whatever. But then later on, I'm like, I really like Mercedes and I want to draw her. And it kind of sucked because I didn't know how to draw her, when I started. It was really bad. Like, she was really thin. But that's, that was just me drawing what I thought was big. When she was, in my drawings, she was average at most. Like, really average. So, I was like, okay, I gotta work on it more. So I just did a lot of studies. With everything, you just have to do body studies. But the key is to not let the idea that body types, like bigger body types, are impossible to draw, because that is not true. They're not impossible. I think a lot of people just get intimidated by it, because even artists, especially artists, we get seduced by the idea of what we think is pretty to draw. Like, I'm not ragging on other artists, but I do notice there's a common pattern of skinny white women that are constantly drawn. I'm not telling them they should expand, expand on that and draw different types of. If they want to draw that skinny white woman, they can draw skinny white woman. Like that's that's all you, man. Draw what you want to draw. But I think it's also really good to say, hey, why don't I draw someone who's bigger? Why don't I draw someone who's darker? Why don't I change it up a bit? Because whether you like it or not, you do get when you're constantly drawing, the skinny white women, you do kind of get this what's it called? This idea, with this little idea, this little mindset snuck in there that makes you think, okay, this is beauty. This is the prettiest thing right now. That's not true. Beauty's everywhere. Beauty is skinny white woman. Beauty is big black woman. It's everything. That's why I try to expand a lot on faces or body types, especially body types, because I really I'm gonna be honest. Like, I used to think Mercedes, a character like Mercedes, I used to think she wasn't attractive at all, because what do you see people draw all the time? Skinny people. That's what I drew until I kind of forced myself to just be like, just draw something else. And eventually I actually found with drawing people like Mercedes more often, it made me realize that they're beautiful as well. Like, duh, of course they are. But I was, at the time, I didn't believe that until I started expanding my artistic vocabulary, I guess. Yeah. So yeah, like, I'm not gonna go to people and tell them, you should draw different people. You shouldn't draw white people all the time. Like I said before, if that's what you want to draw, that's fine. It's a little boring in my opinion, but that's you. Who am I to tell you what to draw or what not to draw? But I do think it helps you so much to expand and to try drawing things you don't usually draw. But yeah, I might do a tutorial on it if you guys want. If you guys want a tutorial on different body types and stuff. If you want me to do a tutorial on you ever seen those men and women tutorials, how to draw male bodies and female bodies? I'd like to do one of those, but do a mock one, because I always feel like they just fall into the same the same stereotypes, where it's like, you're kind of doing more harm than good, especially with character design. Like, come on. Like, this is where I get critical. Like, if you want to do character design and stuff, you gotta at least know how to draw more than one body type and stuff like that, right? Yeah, just let me know if you have any ideas of what other videos I can make. It might take a while, but I'll do it. I did this one. I didn't think I'd do this one, but I did it. So yeah, I let you watch the rest of it, and head on my way. Thank you for watching. Bye.